Hey, what's up? This is Kevin6154, also known as Phoenix Motorsports. Today we're gonna have a little talk about the whole Harley-Davidson woke thing and the new CEO and kind of a little bit of research that I did. If you watched my live earlier, I have some problems with the discs in my back from driving truck for 25 years, which, they told me when I was a kid that this was going to happen. I guess it does. So, I had to take it easy today. And actually, all week, I've been on vacation. So, there will be no mechanical motorcycle fixing videos and really not any riding videos either. I was told to ride the recliner. Anyways, doesn't mean I don't do a different kind of work. So, I'll give you a minute. Go get yourself a cold one or sandwich. I got me a Barrett's ginger beer, one of my favorites. Non-alcoholic. Hey, it's good stuff though. All right, so we got this dude, and I'm probably butchering his name. Johann Zeitz. He becomes a member of the board of directors of Harley Davidson Sustainability. He's also credited for the development of the live wire. We'll get into that in a little bit. And this is in 2011. And right around then is when Willie G steps down, unfortunately. You have to excuse me, I have to take a lot of notes here just to keep this all straight. But yeah, so we're going to address a few things here. We'll get into the DEI thing. I'll explain it as best as I feel I understand it, and I may be wrong. You take it with a grain of salt because I'm just a truck driver, man. What do I know? I sat here this afternoon and researched it a little. So, from what I gather, Harley Davidson sustainability, that board, what I researched on it, not sustainability is in electric powered vehicles, uh, sustainable resources. No, it's more, can we keep the company rolling and making money? Because if you're a fan of the company, you're a fan of their products, you know there were some really bad years when people just didn't buy their bikes because they were kind of crap. AMF, AMF. Yeah. So yeah. So you know he jumps on that board in 2011. Prior to that, the guy worked for Colgate Palmolive Corporation right out of college. And in 1990, he took over Puma and led a worldwide restructuring of the company. In other words, Puma folded and they restructured, and he took over and did their thing for them. Well, he implemented this long-term development program, and dude, their stock prices went up. Are you ready for this? 4,000% is per share is what the raise was. Now, I couldn't find out over what period of time that was. He assumed as an intern CEO February of 2020, and he was permanently installed May of 2020. Now, February of 2021, it did something interesting. He announced that he would give stock grants to hourly and factory employees. Okay. Now, I've seen this in other companies, and I worked for a company that did this. Rather than offer a retirement plan or more money, they will throw stock at you. Here, you have stock in the company. The company I worked for didn't just give you the stock. He invested the stock in your name, and he had his accountant kind of play with it to grow your money. And a 6 year span from the year 2000 until 2006, when I had left that company, it was like $10,000. And it's free money. Here you go. We gave you the stock. This is how much it accrued. So that's kind of what they did there, which I've seen companies do this to kind of shut unions up. We don't want to pay any higher wages because obviously we want to pay our workers peanuts. I guess that's the American way. Where they'll do that. Instead of paying more money, well, we'll throw stock at you because it doesn't really cost them very much to do it. And if you're smart with it, you can actually make money on your own. But Got to be smart. So he does do that, and that's a good thing. Um, so I'm assuming that this whole DEI crap started May of 2020. So we've had this. I'm going to assume I couldn't find out when it was started. I'm going to assume when this dude started as CEO, then that was 4 years ago, man. I think the election time kind of brought that out because you've got left wing fighting right wing, fighting left wing. You got people that are just too retarded to do what I just did and take some time to research something. They listen to what they hear on right wing news media or left wing news media, and that please don't do that. That's stupid. So I think that might have been what brought this up, and you're not gonna like what I found out. You're probably not anyway, especially if you're a little more right wing about yourself. So December of 2021, they announced the Livewire would be a separate publicly traded company. Hmm. That's funny because in 2022 they lost $85 million. They only sold 660 Livewire motorcycles. 2023 they lost 29 million, and they only sold 117 Livewire motorcycles. I get it. The CEO, he's European, electric everything. Yeah, we get it. Americans don't want it. We don't. Sorry. You want to build that overseas and sell it over there? That's fine. Americans don't want electric motorcycles. We don't want them. They don't sell. Where we got here? 2022, the Revolution Max, excuse me, 2021, the Revolution Max engine is released. Now, that was designed by Harley Davidson himself, no, the company itself. No other outside companies. The CEO had nothing to do with this. That's their own R&D. Well, we're talking about bikes being moved overseas, being built in Thailand, offshore manufacturing. Uh, yeah, they shifted the non-core models. In other words, your big touring bikes, your Softails, your three-wheeler bikes like the Tri-Glide, they're all built here. That's not going to change. What's going to get built over there are bikes like the Street 500, the Street 750, the Pan America, the Sportster S, which I mean, I dig the Max Revolution engine. What it does in the Pan America is amazing. It's a 1250cc V twin that's pumping out 150 horsepower. They freaking scream. They're quite a bit over engineered for my liking. Same with the Sportster S, but the Street 500 and 750, I've never seen one on the road around here at all. But if you look throughout, because I watch motorcycle videos from all over the world, if you look throughout Europe and throughout Asia, they're all riding small bikes. Royal Enfield Bullet 350s, Honda 125s. So a bike like that could break Harley Davidson into that market, and they're relatively cheap. These people got to, oh, I have a Harley Davidson. It's really not, but it would make more sense to build them over there if it is more suited to the terrain and the type of motorcycle that sells over there. So that was kind of a smart move on his part. Whereas the big road bikes really don't do well on space. Just watch some videos. You'll see the big road bikes really aren't going to do well there. They're going to build them here. It's kind of smart money to do that. Um, DEI has not been active since April of 2024. So they shut that down before all this hoopla come out. Let's see. I'm going to attempt to explain DEI to the best of my knowledge that I have just researched it and the definition of it. I've taken a lot of notes. I've been sitting here all afternoon doing this. Okay. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. And yes, this is a communist Marxist kind of theory. It is. Um, their organization frameworks which seek to promote fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly groups who have been historically underrepresented or subject to discrimination on the basis of identity or disability. Diversity refers to the very variety within the organization workforce, such as identity politics. It includes gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability, age, culture, class, religion, or opinion. In other words, uh, we don't give a fuck. We're going to hire you all. We're not going to discriminate because you're LGBTQ. We're not going to discriminate because you're right wing. In a nutshell, that definition to me is what it says. Uh, it's kind of stupid. If you can do the job well, do the job. But I don't know. That's the definition, okay? That's the diversion part of the definition. In other words, everybody's welcome to work there, and we're going to fill every position with whoever we need to fill it with. We're not going to discriminate for any reason. That's the definition. Whether you want to believe that that means they're going to insert a fella that chopped off his package and put on a dress and calls himself Susan, if you think that's what it means, hey, to you, that's what it means, I guess. But that's not the definition of it, because I'm just giving you facts that I looked up. Equity refers to the concept of fairness and justice, such as fair compensation and sub, substantive equality. Okay, so we're not going to pay slave wages. That's in a nutshell. We're going to pay you a fair wage. That sounds like good things. And that's as far as I went into that. I mean, I get it. It could be inclusion, obviously, it's self explanatory with the inclusion part. We're going to include everybody. It doesn't sound like a bad thing. It basically is them broadly stating it's not, we're going to hire the gays, we're going to hire the trans. That's not what that says. That says we're not going to not hire you if you're gay or trans. We're not going to not hire you just because you're in a wheelchair. You get it? To me, okay, and I'm just going off the definition. I think a lot of people may have heard some right wingers come out there, and you can twist that into something that it's not. You know, you could, but that's the definition of it. So you do with it what you will. Get down here. Sorry, man. I had to do a whole lot of notes on this so I can. Yeah, and also supplier diversity comes involved in this. In other words, as far as what they invest in, the company invests their own money to make money at the same time. Women owned, veteran owned, LGBTQ owned, and disabled vet owned. Disabled vet owned, veteran owned, women owned. But man, somebody put that LGBTQ in there and everybody lost their fucking mind. I don't get it. Okay, leave it as it is, dude. I want you to look this up for yourself, not just listen to what some idiot like me says. And that's why I'm making this video, because I want you to look it all up, because there's some stuff I learned, and, all right, where are we at? Now we're going to get into the stock prices. And in this one, I found kind of interesting. We got into the offshore manufacturer and the DEI, so I explained all that to you. So let's get into the stock prices a little bit. We're going to start out at. All right. So all this hoopla started like 6 weeks ago, a month ago. So what I did, I just went online and their stock prices are it's easy to find. Just Google search Harley-Davidson stock price. So the beginning of the month, there was a whole lot of whoopla. Harley-Davidson went woke, right? Stock price was $34.15 per share. Today, August 30th, $37.39. Everybody's belly aching and all this internet hoopla. The stocks went up anyway. That's why they hired this dude. He makes stocks go up, which also kind of makes me think that maybe a lot of y'all were trolled. Trolled enough that I'm gonna go buy me a Harley now while I can because they're gonna go under because they went woke. We're gonna cancel them, but kind of not what I'm seeing. Let's see. The highest this year it was March 21st of 2024, and it was $43.90. And the lowest it had been prior to that was $25.88 on October 30th, 2023, which kind of makes sense. You're in the fall season, less people are buying motorcycles. March to spring season, everybody's buying their new Harley, so you're going to have some fluctuation. The lowest that I could find in the last 5 years was $16.22 March 20th of 2020. Well, pandemic. Obvious reasons. No one's buying bikes because no one's working. Let's see. That's the lowest in a 5 year span. August 30th, 2019 to August 30th, 2024, which we come back here and, you know, 3 years later, or excuse me, 5 years later, uh, we're still at $37. So their stock is kind of, since 2024, it has fluctuated between, let's say, 25 and $45 per share. The highest I could find was November 6th of 2006 at $77 or excuse me, $73.77. But it was a whole different time back then. That was before that recession hit in '08. If you remember that, I do. I had a hell of a time finding a decent paying job there and scrambled just to work. But right before that, we were all banging, we were all making money. So let's see. That was November of '06. October 31st, and it's going to be a low stock period because people aren't buying bikes. Just this is just common sense. October 31st of '08, it was $24.28. That's an election year. That was a bad winter. We were deep in a recession. The price dropped to $10.10 in February of 2009. So obviously they've had a problem with stock prices dropping, and you have to think about it as the dollar's not worth as much as it used to be. So a lot of this is sugarcoating on some fake money, but the proof's in the pudding here. In the 1 month that everybody bitched, their stock prices rose like $3. So it's kind of, I'm giving y'all information, man. It's kind of want y'all to chill out a little bit on that. And there's a few guys on YouTube that I get it. You're doing it for the clickbait and for the hits because it's the big thing to talk about. In my opinion, it's really not. And I'm just an idiot, and I spent about 2.5, 3 hours in my computer today just looking some stuff up. So calm down. The politics that I have tried to avoid in the last two elections are touching everything, and now you're touching my fucking motorcycles with politics. You need to stop that shit. Get out there and ride. Catch y'all later. Thanks for watching.